But our first guest has been on the show before. She's not a stranger to Black Authors Matter TV, and she has a brand new book that just came out a week ago. So she's going to come and tell us about her brand new book, and it's called All the Greatness in You. And we welcome back Tameka Fryer Brown to Black Authors Matter TV.
Hey, how are you doing, Gwen?
I'm great. I'm great. I said if I sound nasal, I'm getting over some stuff, but it's that time of year. And
Absolutely. I
yeah.
had to take
Also,
a cetirizine or a Zyrtec before I got on here too. So yeah,
well, yeah, I do that, but I actually do some other stuff. I take vitamin C, and when
hmm
when I start to get some, I do extras. I load up on it.
yeah.
But
I take vitamin W,
What's
vitamin
that? Water?
W.
wine.
Oh,
Oh, why? You know what? You know what? I need to start doing that occasionally.
yeah.
The last wine I had, Rhonda, was when we were in New York for the Harlem Book Fair. That's the
Oh
last time I
yeah.
had some wine, and that was September. And I'm not really a drinker. I'm a lightweight, and it doesn't take much. But I'm
Mm.
gonna start imbibing a little bit more in the
Oh,
evening when we
don't let
get
me be a
home.
bad influence on you.
The red wine is good for the stomach, good for what else? So a little bit.
Yeah, well, I like white personally, but so have you. So is that why you were late? Are you when you?
No, actually, I was sitting here daydreaming because I have a little notification that comes on my computer, and the notification came up and said, "Okay, I have 10 minutes. Let me go ahead and get ready." And then I started daydreaming, I guess. And next thing you know, it was 8 o'clock. I was like, "Oh shoot!"
Yeah, that little time span in there where I'm waiting for the show. I'm sitting waiting, checking things and all that, and then before I know it, it's time. But
That's
anyway,
exactly what happened.
yeah. Tamika, we don't want to take a lot of time for your interview, but
Right.
congratulations on your new book. Now, which book is this for you? Which book number is this for you?
This is
Yeah,
book number 7.
number 7. And
Yeah.
you've been pretty busy. Seems like since we started the show, you've been on every year, I think, and every year you've had a new book.
Yeah, yeah. I think the first time I came on, was it right after with Brown Baby Lullaby? I
Yes,
think maybe that was it. And that
yeah,
came out in 2020. And then I had two in 2022 that come out, another one in 2023, and this one's in
right.
2024. So yeah,
You had the
I've
Shirley
kind of been.
Chisholm book, right? And then
Yep.
you had
Sure.
the book about the flag.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So, okay, well, do you have a copy of your new one?
Of course, I have it
Handy,
sitting
yeah,
right
so you can show it
here.
to all the greatness in you. So that child is looking up at the sky
I
and
love it.
looking at a constellation
Yes.
and the Big Dipper or the Little Dipper, whichever one that is.
It's like there is a deeper message
hmm
because
Oh
when
yeah,
you shoot for the stars,
hmm
and the stars are way out there. So if you're shooting for
yes.
the stars, you're going to hit so many things. So it's like he's looking at the stars. That's a little boy, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it
Okay,
looks like
yeah.
a little boy.
Yes.
And yeah, if he's shooting for the stars, he's going to be able to be anything he wants to be. And I think that's a beautiful message.
Yes. And the illustrator is Aliana Harris,
I was
and
gonna ask you about her.
yes,
Mm.
she's wonderful.
Now,
Um,
is she new? Do you have a different illustrator with every book, or
pretty much,
how is
pretty
that?
much,
Okay,
except for this book and my next book. Aliana is doing both of them.
okay. But all
Okay,
your
so
other books,
all
but
the other
your
ones.
illustrations have always been very beautiful. It's
Yeah,
gorgeous
I think I've
illustrations.
lucked out. Yeah, I think I've lucked out. But
Okay.
but no, she totally understood the assignment, and she added so many layers to the text with her illustrations. Like you even discerned with the cover how, the little boy's looking up at this vast sky, which represents all this possibility, and he's pointing up at it confidently, at the sky, at the words, all the greatness in you. And that's really what the book is about. It's about it's kind of like a joyful ode to growing up and being a big kid, This is literally the follow-up to Brown Baby Lullaby. My editor, after Brown Baby Lullaby was out and doing its thing, she was like, we need a follow-up. And so this one is literally the follow-up to that. And it just encourages kids um, to ask questions, to try new things, to make mistakes because they know that there's resilience inside of them. And just to overall just believe that there is greatness in them too. So and like I said, she understood the assignment. If you look inside at the illustrations,
Well,
they're
show us some of them.
beautiful. Yeah, they're beautiful. They're colorful. Um, this is the first one where you can see the little kid growing up from a little kid to a big kid.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And this is one of my
Beautifully
favorite
done.
spreads
Okay.
with the mom and the kid
With the
dancing
dancing. Okay.
together.
Love
Yeah, and
that.
Hmm.
yeah, it's just a lot of stuff. He's asking questions. Um, it says a thinker you are, a mind full of wonder. You want to know what happened, why. Sometimes I'll have answers, sometimes I won't. Keep wondering, seek, study, try. Wisdom will come by and by. And there's all these different types of affirmations in the book. And it's just, I'm really proud of this one. So,
Well,
yeah.
let
Okay.
me ask you
Yeah.
this, because you have I know you said you lucked up,
Uh-huh.
but because you have different illustrators for each book, how are you able to keep some type of continuity? And then how do you find yourself having to explain your concept over and over again because you have a new person who's trying to bring that story to life?
Hmm. Well, not really. I think maybe what you're asking me, are you asking me about my brand kind of
Well,
what
yeah,
I
well, I'm talking about with the books. So
okay.
since you've had a different illustrator
Hmm.
for each book, how do you keep that continuity going so people can still recognize you?
Hmm. I think when it comes to recognizing me and my voice, that happens in the text, right? I do think I have kind of a style of
Hmm.
writing, but the art is different. And it's necessary that it is because even though I have a certain voice that's recognizable, all my stories, most of them are very different, right? And so
Yeah.
and I publish with different publishers. And
Right.
they really
Oh,
are the ones who kind of determine what the illustrative vision is. Now, as I've gone on, I have the opportunity to have a little bit more say as to who they actually bring on for the project, but we still have to kind of be eye to eye with what the vision is. And so I don't know. I think as long as the illustrator gets the story
Hmm.
and is able to elevate the story with the illustrations and kind of have their own narrative that is cohesive because I don't the best illustrators don't just literally um, kind of regurgitate in visual form what you've said. They kind of
Right.
add another story layer to it, right?
right.
And
Hmm.
so as long as you have an illustrator that will do that, you're going to be successful. Like Nicholas Smith, who did that flag, his art couldn't be more different than Aliana's, but both are
Right.
gorgeous and both are suited for the text. And I have to say, I think I've been fortunate to have editors and art directors who kind of have strong vision and accurate vision when it comes to kind of bringing on illustrators for a project.
And that's a good thing. I mean,
Mhm.
and and you're right. I don't think I want anybody who does work for me to do exactly what I say
Right.
because sometimes I'm not exactly sure what it is,
Yeah.
but I have a concept. I need you to use your creativity to take it further. So I'm
Exactly.
totally with what you're saying.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
Yeah. And I like illustrators that uh, their work. Well, illustrating books for other people is different from being an artist where you're presenting your own art,
Hmm.
which is going to be necessarily similar looking or similar theme.
Right.
But when you're doing work for other people and you're doing it for various
Hmm.
people in terms of their books, you don't want them all to look alike. I know there's some artists that I know who illustrated the book. I know this illustrator's work. It's a couple people, and it makes the author's book like not look unique to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
understand what I'm saying, because the
Yeah.
illustrations I've seen them on five or 10 different books, the
I think
same.
that's the danger in AI. And don't get me
Yes.
wrong, I don't have anything against the ethical use of AI. Notice I said ethical,
Mm-hmm.
but when we depend too heavily on it, you're right, Gwen, everything starts to look the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you can tell AI, and I'm sure they're going to be improving and perfecting it, probably to the point where you won't be able to tell. Um, and that's scary because that's
Yeah.
going to put a lot of artists out of work.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I don't know about AI with the books, and I don't the
It's dangerous for all of us, the
content. It
writers,
is
the
a danger.
artists, all of us.
It is.
Yeah.
Now with the books though, the content, they have to grab the content from what's out there already. They like
Mm-hmm.
consolidate or extract. They're not coming up with new content. But it really, really, really reminds me of the Terminator, the original Terminator. And the year was 2029 in the
Mm-hmm.
first Terminator. And we're close to 2029. And look what's happening. They
Look what's
have, I don't
happening.
know if you all have seen that new robot that Elon Musk has that's like a human walking. I don't know. It's scary because it walks like a man. I mean, it doesn't move. It doesn't have robot movements. It has man movements. That's. I'd be scared to be in a room with it. It's almost like it's gonna tell you what to do. So we're living. We have some brave new stuff coming in the future. We need to be ready and just you know be on the lookout.
Well,
Um,
let's, we're not gonna get all gloom and doom on the people now.
No, no, we're not. I just want people to be aware, though. You have to be aware of what's going on
Mm-hmm.
around you because you don't want to be ignorant of what's happening, in the world around you. So, especially in the industry, we have to kind of keep our ear to the ground on what's going on because I know publishers are always trying to figure out how to cut costs, the big ones especially, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So now for your getting back to your books and your writing and your vision,
Mm-hmm.
um,
I don't use AI, by the way.
oh well
I
I can
didn't think
tell
you
that.
did. You already
I
told
didn't
us
either. I
about your
can tell it.
artists, so
No.
we weren't even talking about you, Tameka.
And
Just
not for the
joking.
content either. Not for the content either. But
But I saw your Black Authors Matter book.
Oh, yes. Every time. Yeah.
oh I have mine
All
too.
right. Yeah.
Look at y'all being twins. I have mine, but mine's in the cabinet. I can go make some coffee real quick though.
Okay.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
But
oh no, you had a
well
question first,
I
and then
I
I had a
was gonna
question.
say all of your themes are the underlying message to me is hope in all of your books.
Mm-hmm.
Even the one about the flag, it was still hope for being able to communicate and empathize with the other person,
Yes.
have conversations. So, is that where you start when you're writing your book? Where do you what do you start from? What starting point do you start from in terms of what I want this one to be about?
Mm-hmm. You know what? Each one of them is a different thing and it's inspired by something different. Um, I think the hopeful thread comes in is because I always want to leave kids with a sense of hopefulness, with some joy, with some love. I always want to love on kids in my books. I recently came to the realization that my authorial perspective is mom. It's a mom
Okay.
to you. It
Okay.
really is. And so I think
Okay.
that's why I'm always trying to leave them with something positive and to pour into them with the books that I write. And I want the words to be such that when they're grown-ups, their parents, adults, caregivers, whomever's reading the book to them, they're reading those words to them, they are pouring into them. It feels to the kid like, this adult is affirming me is loving on me, you know, is planting seeds of pride and self-love in me. And I think that that is always in the back of my mind. So now the topic might be different. I might be writing about loud family gatherings and 12 dinging doorbells, or that flag as you mentioned, or this, all the greatness in you, or Shirley Chisholm even. The way I couch that is not done yet, you know, to leave kids with a sense of hope that no matter what's going on in the world, we can have an impact, because you know we're not done yet. um
Right.
so I just think that that is just maybe my authorial perspective, and it
Okay.
finds its way into my work.
And that was actually the question that I was going to ask you. You know, we're in a very volatile political climate right now. Um, and books like yours that highlight Shirley Chisholm, I think still provides a lot of hope to young Black girls who were probably looking at Kamala Harris
Mhm,
as I'm going to have a president who looks like me.
mhm.
And then for them to see a book like yours that highlights Shirley Chisholm, shows that, you know, the fight isn't over.
That's right.
Have you seen kind of a bump in that book, or have you been able to highlight that book more due to the political climate that we have going on right now?
Mhm. When Kamala Harris first became the Democratic presidential nominee, yeah, I said, hey, you know, I've got this book
You
here.
got Shirley
And
Chisholm.
and not only is it about Shirley Chisholm, who Kamala Harris always gives credit to as being somebody who paved the path, but the actual final spread has Kamala Harris in it.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's
Oh,
got all
okay.
these people that Shirley Chisholm paved the path for. And so I did, you know, start trying to publicize it. And now, even more so, I'm thinking that it has a resonance because even though she did not become president elect, on that last page of that book I just showed you, the final words were Shirley Chisholm was a natural born fighter. Oh, well, actually, let me say this. I'll go a little bit before that. It says, Shirley didn't win, but the path that she paved makes a better nation possible today. Shirley Chisholm was a natural born fighter. She battled for fairness and change. Her legacy lives. The fight continues. We're not done yet. We could substitute that and say Kamala Harris was a natural born fighter. She battled for fairness and change. Her legacy lives. The fight continues. We're not done yet. So it just kind of shows the continuum. You know, Shirley influenced all these politicians that are on that final page, including Kamala
Absolutely.
Harris. And and then that final page has kids interspersed in it. And they are holding up signs like, you know, about climate change and fairness. And so it just is an inspiration. I think I intended it to be for kids to know that the battle is, you know, all of ours, and we all have a role in trying to make positive change, and we're not done yet, obviously, but yeah, but we all have a role, and we all can have an impact. And
Hmm.
so if anybody's looking and listening and watching, Shirley Chisholm, this book not done yet. Shirley Chisholm's Fight for Change, y'all. Let's use books like this, and it's not the only one, but let's use books like this to encourage our kids in this difficult time, and to encourage ourselves, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
Well,
I think that we need this encouragement right now. I mean, I think this, I mean, I don't want to get political, but I'm really saying how this particular election really like brought the rocks down on us, so to speak.
Yeah,
You know, so many there were people who didn't want to come to work. People
yeah.
were very sensitive, and I don't mean sensitive in a negative way. They
Mhm,
were just more sensitive to things that were said. I mean,
mhm,
I had one of my employees who was like, "I look, I can't take it anymore. Tell them don't talk about it." You know,
mhm,
you know, she just not did not want to talk about it. So I think books like yours
mhm,
and messages like yours
mhm.
are what we need to hear.
Yeah,
I would read the book. I'm not a child, but
right.
I might need that extra encouragement for myself, because there were a lot of messages that people received because of this past election.
That's right.
And books like yours just have that positive message that tells people to just keep on keeping on. So as we used to say back in the day, or as our grandparents used to say.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
even I just had my book launch party this past Saturday for All the Greatness in You. And there's a section on there about resilience. And afterwards, we're all talking, there were adults in the room saying, yeah, I'm buying this for my grandkid, but I'm gonna hold on to it for a little bit because I need it, right now to kind
Yes.
of to bolster me. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a really a roller coaster ride, and that made it even more challenging. It wasn't
Yeah.
your typical situation where it's kind of a buildup. It was just whoosh and it was over. But if you all saw the movie with Shirley Chisholm,
Yeah, I
that
did.
portrayed by Regina King,
Hmm.
um, Shirley Chisholm, I mean, she, she really, really had a like extremely tough, just because nobody really took her seriously at all.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
she was fighting everybody. She was having to fight
Hmm.
everybody and, stabbed in the back and all of that. And I wanted to see a little bit more about Shirley Chisholm's background,
Hmm.
her backstory. They
Hmm.
didn't really give you any of that, but it's hard to do it with a limited film, with a
Sure.
limited time
Yeah.
of the film. Were you able to connect your Shirley Chisholm book to that movie at all? Were you able to capitalize on that? A lot of timing and stuff is timing, and I don't remember if the timing of that movie with your book, but seems like it was kind of similar.
Well, it was after the movie came out after, my book came out in 2022. But
Okay.
you know how we do when the movie
Yeah.
came out, I posted, I was like, watch
Yeah.
Regina, then read, not done
Yeah.
yet,
That's the way you do it. That's the
if
way
you
you
gotta
do
get
it.
it, you gotta do it. But it was very interesting as I was watching the movie. I don't know, it was so rewarding that I could look at I could be like, oh, I know where they got that information from. Oh yeah, I know, I remember that information. I saw that interview, because all the research I had to do for the book. So
Mhm.
that was really cool. Since Not Done Yet was my very first nonfiction
Like
book.
a bio.
Yeah, bio, yeah. So that was just real cool.
And
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 we
thank you for mentioning that. When even though you write a children's book,
hmm
not you, a person,
hmm
when authors write children's books, they still need to be accurate, historically accurate if you're writing a bio type book. It has to be, you can't just um, do it by the seat of your pants because it's targeting children. You don't want to
Absolutely.
be, you want to be giving them accurate information so they won't repeat the wrong information. And a lot of times, because that's what I did when I wrote my book, Boss Women, that has 7 biographies of African American women who built their businesses from the ground up. I found a lot of information watching YouTube videos
hmm
of their interviews with different
hmm
people.
hmm
And see, that's not written, that's not like reading a book or an article
hmm
that has a quote. This from their own mouths. You really get a good sense of who they are, their passions, um, just things that they reflect about. And sometimes they will share anecdotes from their childhood or something
hmm
that would not be in a book that's helpful when you're writing a book.
That's right. Absolutely. And there's nothing like that primary source information,
Right,
from their mouths. Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Yeah,
nothing like
one
that.
my favorite pastime is when I'm watching a movie that's about a real person. My boyfriend does it too. We'll be sitting there watching a movie, and then as soon as they get to a pivotal scene, we look it up to see if it really happened that way.
Yeah. Yeah. We did that when we were watching The Crown on Netflix. We were like, wait a minute.
Oh yeah, I was all into the backstory of the crown. I'm like, did it really happen like that?
The Crown was really well done.
It
Hmm.
It
was. It
really
really
gave you a
was.
sense
They
of
the characterization, the whoever chose the actors,
the
the
Hmm.
casting,
casting.
the
Yes.
casting was amazing.
Yeah,
It
it really
was.
was.
It
Hmm.
was even from even when they made the switch from her as a young queen and then the
Hmm.
middle-aged queen and then
Hmm.
then the
Right.
older queen, and same for her husband Philip.
Yeah.
They were able to really. They did a really good job of doing
Hmm.
that. So,
Yeah.
um,
Oh,
now,
Lydia Brew asked if you're going to do a book on our vice president, our current vice president, not that next guy.
Oh,
Hmm.
I know what you meant. Um, I don't have an intention on doing that, but I tell you, there's a wonderful book out, picture book on her by Nikki Grimes, and I think it's called Kamala Harris Rooted in Justice. I believe that's what it's called. But it's
mhm,
by Nikki Grimes, and it is a wonderful, wonderful picture book. And
okay,
I know that that one did do really well as all of this was going
uh,
on,
okay,
because it's so good. So check that one out. And there's other ones as well. So
okay,
Okay.
yeah. So then you said you have another book coming out after this one as well. This one just came out,
yes.
but do you already have the title and theme for the next book?
It's coming out at the beginning of 2026, and it is called Prayer Is. And it's a book about
Oh,
prayer for kids.
okay,
And it's my take on it. And again, it's going to be illustrated by Aliana.
okay,
And the illustrations are so wonderful. I think a lot of times, um, books for kids on prayer are really, I don't know, really reductive, just very, very simplistic.
Yeah.
But this one is my kind of book, right? It's got some layers in it. And I think adults are gonna get something from it just as much as kids. And so I'm
Lovely.
excited about that.
And
so it's
when can
geared
we
toward,
expect that? Oh, I'm sorry.
you
Go
I'm
said
ahead.
sorry, what'd you say?
2026, I think.
Mm-hmm. 2026.
Mhm.
Okay.
But it's for
We were
young
asking the
kids.
same thing.
Well, I was asking about, is it still for young kids? Like her other
Oh,
books
okay.
are all for, seems like the 5 to 8 year
4 to 8, yeah,
old.
something like
Okay,
that. Yeah, yeah.
okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
okay. So it's in the same age group.
Yep,
Okay, well, Tameka, thank you so much for being a guest again on the show,
absolutely.
and thank you for making us aware of the book, um, all the greatness in you. I think children need to think of themselves as potentially great. They have to
Hmm.
have it already in their minds that I can be great,
That is
and
already inside of me, just waiting
yes,
to be revealed. Yes,
yes.
Yes.
And it's
absolutely.
it's helpful if parents are able to convey that to their children on a regular basis. Some do and some don't. But if the children don't get it at home, teachers doing it is a good thing too, because children are in school for 8 hours a day or however many hours they are. And
Absolutely.
if a teacher can now, do you teach? Did you?
I do not teach. When my kids were real little, I did 1 year a stint as a teacher's assistant at their Montessori school, but
Okay,
that's as close as I got.
And you said
okay.
that's enough for you.
Big ups to teachers. They do amazing, amazing work. You have to have a calling.
You do have a heart for children,
Yeah, yeah. I have a heart for
especially special.
children, but
Mhm.
just as a writer.
Yeah. I hear you because I feel the same way. Well, thank you again for being a guest on the show, and we
Yeah.
hope to see you soon. Well, when your next book comes out,
All
we'll
right then.
we'll have
I'll
you
be
on for
here
sure.
for sure.
Okay. All
All
right.
right.
Take
Thank
Take
care.
care,
you.
y'all.
All
Bye
Good
right.
bye.
night.
Good night.